Nganji chimbo tsoda nyingme xiaosong ningme chimbo nga jada pakartar nga santu xirma doktumba tibje jan la kyu xiagamsar. Urjen son langpa me dongbo zi jaro namcha rongjen henji sanzo pepshe yondon tsombar. Padmasambhava ne daglo pansar. Again, good morning, everyone. And first of all, I would like to say welcome to all of you, and thank you for being here. And it's nice to see all of you again and to have this opportunity to do the Dharma teachings and practice together again. We all alive. It's very fortunate. So thank you very much. And I'm very happy to see all of you again. And I also would like to say thank you to the board members who are volunteering for Bodhicitta Sangha and offering all their help and setting everything ready for these teachings, and the teachings coming until May. So thank you very much. And I hope always, I hope these teachings will be beneficial, and you will also learn good things from these teachings. That is my main sort of motivation. And I am so grateful and very happy to have this opportunity. And as you know, during my classes, I usually give teaching, right? And then also let you meditate for 5 to 10 minutes together. Because, Dharma practitioners need to practice the Dharma. And Dharma teachings are presented in great detail, but they all come down to just one point. That is to make yourself a good and great human being, have a compassion, bodhicitta, realization, wisdom, or whatever that makes you great being through Dharma practice, Dharma meditation. So that is the whole point of Dharma practice. So it's wonderful that we have a Sangha called Bodhicitta, and we have this opportunity to get together, that I receive amazing lineage teachers from, my teachers, and I have now good opportunity to give you that sort of transmission to all of you and bring all of you into my lineage. It feels really fortunate and happy. So thank you. And now, as always, before you do anything, the most important thing you do is correct your motivation and generate bodhicitta. As I always mention before I teach, whether or not your Dharma practice is successful, depends really entirely on the motivation in our minds, and really sort of search for a genuine and pure motivation for the Dharma teachings and practice. So please take a moment and correct and let all these thoughts come in, destroy your sort of concentration. So of course you know this, but you know when you correct your motivation, you should think, I will receive this teachings and transmissions who are, so as Bob which said, and always my teachers always quote this. I mean, you know, Bob which, you know, if you listen to the teachings in this kind of how do I say, conduct, powerful virtue and blessings that can never be lost. And if you sort of maintain this motivation, when you receive the teachings or when you practice them, now so I'll let you correct your motivation and find a you know, generate bodhicitta before we start this teaching. That's very important. Now the topic for today, as you know, today's teaching is the called Seven-Line Supplication Prayer to Padmasambhava. Also known as the Guru Rinpoché, right? The founder of, and we consider him as a second Buddha. He really helped establish a pure lineage, which is by all the, we have this, what do you call it, 4 major schools of Tibetan Buddhism and around the world. So it's very important. If you don't know who Padmasambhava or the Guru Rinpoche is, then it's very, very strong and powerful and sort of great teacher. As I said, you know, we call the second Buddha. And now the reason I choose this teaching is because I wanted, the first reason is I wanted you to understand who is in biographies of Padmasambhava. It's, you know, so many, even like Buddhist practitioners, especially like Nyingma tradition, you know, Padmasambhava was the most important founder of Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, but lots of people don't know exactly like what's the real biography of Padmasambhava. So the first Nyingma sort of Nyingma Pa, you know, the people who practice, you know, Nyingma. So it's very important to understand who Padmasambhava is. And more importantly, I'm giving this teaching mainly for the benefit of these terrible wars happening. Because, many people asked me what practice they should do for these wars and this, people are suffering. I really don't know what is the best, but, many teachers, said that the seven-line supplication prayer with the Bajra Guru mantra practice this, is the best for, for this world. So therefore, you see what's going on in this world, all of this suffering, panic, and killing each other. So we need, of course, as a Dharma practitioner who has compassion, bodhicitta, we need think about, this suffering, and people are, all these distractions and, destroying each other, all this, we have to think about it and say some mantras. But I think according to all these teachers, say that the seven-line supplication and think about Padmasambhava is the best. So therefore, I think it's important for us to, pray constantly, to Guru Padmasambhava and reciting this prayer with the what do you call it, altruistic motivation to benefit all the suffering of sentient beings, and will certainly be cause for peace and happiness in this world. So that's the reason. And when you do the prayer and practice either for yourself or for others, with the right sort of circumstances, right cause and conditions, with the right time, and right sort of motivation, right instruction, all your wishes will come true. I think, I really believe that. It's like, it's like a flower with the right soil, right water, right temperature, whatever, the flower can, bloom, right? So it's important to practice this seven-line prayer with passion, bodhicitta, with your bodhicitta, for this kind of circumstance of, suffering. We have to do correctly. So there is a prayer. It says, let me see, whoever prays sincerely and recites it with a great faith and devotion, along with wisdom and compassion, will their wishes come true by the blessing of Guru Rinpoché. So if you really focus on the seven-line prayer and do it correctly, then it's certain that the blessings will come, and the suffering of the world and all sentient beings will, even Padmasambhava himself said that all this suffering will turn into happiness and peace if we do it correctly. And according to the teachings, the seven-line prayer to Guru Rinpoché is one of the most important prayers, especially, as I said, Nyingma Lineage, Nyingma tradition. And also teachers say that this prayer has the power, kind of like the potential to eliminate all the illness, inspire and transform your daily meditation. So as you know, there are many different prayers, but according to the teachers, among all these prayers, the practice of the practice of Guru is considered to be the greatest, right? I mean, there are many teachers who have explained the Guru Yoga practice Guru Yoga practice based on the Seven-Line prayer to Padmasambhava is the best. And Dudjom Rinpoché said that of all the Guru prayer, however, the most important one is the Seven-Line supplication prayer, because this supplication prayer is the most supreme of Guru Rinpoche's supplications. So if you want to practice Guru Rinpoche, and you should recite this prayer, this mantra, a minimum of 100 Seven-Line prayer each day, if you can, which is very easy, especially this time, in the world, lots of this going on and sufferings. All, I think if you recite this prayer 100 times a day with great motivation, and it's, I think, very, very helpful. I do 1,000 Seven-Line supplication recitations every day, but 1,000 is maybe too much, but 100 times is not that difficult if you want practice the Seven-Line supplication, because now you are kind of like come here and want to receive this teaching. So then if you don't practice, then there's not sort of good kind of result, right? So, but if you think also the reciting the whole prayer is too much, there, 7 lines, then of course you can recite just the Bhajar Guru mantra, because the essence of the Seven-Line prayer is basically the Bhajar Guru mantra. When you practice it, always, you should keep in sort of image of Guru Rinpoche with you in your heart, whatever, as a support for your prayers, for your practice. So remember and keep him in your mind as much as you can. We, my teacher, root teacher, Nyingma Lineage, used to emphasize that the 10th lunar day of the monkey month of the monkey year is an extremely important day for making a tsok, the offering, because that is the Guru Rinpoche's birthday month and year. And there is a tsok practice associated with the Seven-Line prayer, which was composed by Mapa Rinpoche. We do that tsok feast once a year. But I would say that if you are not or how to say, if you are not a Buddhist, or if you are not big fan of like the ritual, making sok feast, all this kind of, then some of these teachings about Padmasambhava may sound a little bit unusual, I would say. For instance, in the prayer, it says that Padmasambhava was born on a lotus flower, miraculous birth. If you don't understand exactly what it means, then it is confusion, and it's hard to believe it, right? Padmasambhava was born a lotus flower. Doesn't make any sense. But I will explain you it more today if I can. But Guru Rinpoche's story. Guru Rinpoche lived in around the 8th century, and you should know that there are at least 3 different stories in whatever you call biographies of Guru Rinpoche. There is the outer, inner, and secret story, or there is the general or common sort of story or biography, and there is a unique sort of biography, and there is this profound or a secret biography of Padmasambhava Guru Rinpoche. But today, maybe I will say, the outer, the story of Padmasambhava. There is a very famous teacher called Taranatha. According to his Taranatha's history of Buddhism in India, here's this story, history of Buddhism in India at that time. This Taranatha's book is very, very old, many years. According to, this is very famous, and very important teaching, and how to, what happened to Buddhism in India, how to came to Tibet, all these kind of stories, and he explained there. So according to his history of Buddhism in India, Padmasambhava came from India, of course, and where he was born into a royal family. Not he was born from a lotus flower. At that time, he said that he was born a royal family. That time there was a king called Sadhu. In their language, this king lived in the Odiyana. That's the name of this country or city. At that time, the India is not like now, right? There are lots of different kind of like kingdoms, there are lots of different kings. So the one of this, the Odiyana, or origin in Tibetan, we say, there is a king called Sadhu, or Sikdara in Hindu they say Sikdara, or in Tibetan we say Metok Townsend. It means Metok means flower, and Tangwa means garland, the mala. So this Padmasambhava's father's name is in Tibetan holding a sort of garland of flower, but in Hindu Sikdara. So that king was Guru Rinpoche's father, and his mother was Zalanta. So he was born on the 10th day, as I said, 10th day of the 6th, the lunar moon. Then, of course, Padmasambhava practiced Buddhism and became a second Buddha. And he went to many different places like Nepal, Bhutan, and especially he went to Tibet, and then he introduced the Tantric, Buddhism to Tibetans. And there's so many, like he established the first Buddhist monastery in Tibet, which is very famous and very important one, so on and so forth. That's kind of like not in detail, but Padmasambhava's like outer sort of story or biography. Then there is the inner or unique story of Padmasambhava. And Padmasambhava or Padmākara. Padmākara is his when he took the monk's vow. That's his teacher gave them the Padmākara. Means lotus-born, which refers to Guru Rinpoche's birth on a lotus flower in the land of this Odiyana. And they, as you know, there was a lake called Danakosha, right? And the ancient sort of kingdom of Odiyana. And one time, Padmasambhava, when he was, usually lots of people say these stories, he was 8 years old. He spontaneously appeared in the center of this lotus flower. And then, there are lots of different stories, but then the very famous king also called Indabudi, in Indian king Indabudi. He founded him in the center of lotus, and then it was like miraculous birth and very special. So he brought him to his kingdom and keep him there because Indabudi, no son, no daughter. So, and then Indabudi, asked and talked to Guru Rinpoche, and we usually, don't talk about his real, like, as I told you, right, his real father, mother, but we talked about this unique sort of story, such as, this Zirchi in Tibetan. Zirchi means miraculous birth, which means without parents. I don't know, it's possible, but maybe everything is possible. Why not? But it's hard to believe it, so I think at that time in India, there were, according to this Indian sort of, the Taranatas and books, and, there were special ceremonies in that time in India, this special ceremony for children of kings, where they would bring the child to special lakes like Danakosha that had, very large sort of lotus flowers, and then they would put their child or baby on the lotus and then splash it with water for purification, and to bring the blessings. That's very common, Sometimes we do that in Tibet. They do. Tibet don't bring their babies on the lotus flower, but they have this kind of ceremony with water ceremony, purification ceremony. I'm not so sure, but I wonder if this is a part of the origin of the lotus-born stories of Padmasambhava. Who knows, 1,000 years ago. As you know, many religious, traditions have stories of this kind of like miraculous birth, right? I heard in Christianity, the story of Jesus being born is also like a miraculous birth. So I think, at that time, these kind of like, special stories, like miraculous story of Padmasambhava I think there's a reason can help many people to develop their faith and devotion. Oh, like even like still like Tibetans, when they hear, oh, Padmasambhava is Dirji, means like miraculous birth, people think without, usually they don't investigate. Oh, that's amazing. That's something special. Here's like, has this kind of capacity. It's very special. So I think it's very, can sort of develop their faith and brain sort of inspiring, in different ways. So I think there is a reason why they say that. But I think it depends what you're looking for and what inspires your faith and devotion and practice. So, seems like in the past, this kind of miraculous story was very helpful, even though it's true or not. I don't know, but at that time was very helpful and very beneficial. But perhaps now the story of his regular sort of birth, according to the Taranada's book, and according to also there are these the Tantric teachings of Vajrakolaya, there are lots of teachings, ancient teachings of this. According to them, Padmasambhava is not sort of miraculous birth. There's his parents and his time and everything explained there. So I think these days, probably his sort of common and regular birth and development of capacity is more helpful. But as I said, it depends on who you are, and it's up to you. What kind of, if you believe he's a miraculous birth, that's great. If not, there's his parents and everything like that. So that's kind of, anyhow, then there is the secret or profound story of Padmasambhava, right? That is, I can start with, after the very famous Indian king founded him in lotus flower, and then after that he brought him to in kingdom, and then he kept in there. Then I don't know when, but then the king asked him where he was really from and who his parents were. Then Padmasambhava answered him about where he comes from. He said that, there's a very famous quote. He said, "My father is pure awareness of Rigpa, Samantabhava. My mother is the ultimate space of reality, the Samantabhava." You should understand the Samantabhava is not real, a real like human being, though. Okay, it represents your nature mind. So that's Padmasambhava said his parents, Samantabhava and Samantabhava, which is awareness of Rigpa and ultimate of reality, the space of reality. And then Padmasambhava said, "My name is the lotus-born," which is sort of miraculous birth. And Padmasambhava then continues, "My responsibility is to accomplish the actions of the Buddhas of 3 times. That's why he came." So you see, these are the kind of like a short explanation of this kind of different stories of Padmasambhava. But they're not, really contradictory if you understand the purpose of these different stories. During his life, he visited as many places throughout Asia, and he practiced and meditated in many different kind of like, strange caves and, cemeteries, you know, and these days people can visit this sort of secret sites, and they do, you know, retreat near these places to receive, you know, his blessings, like, you know, in Sami Monastery in Tibet, the Padmasambhava, he built the first monastery in Tibet. There are lots of different places these days, like you can go there and you can retreat there, and then you can receive his blessings, you know. So that's very nice. That's that. And now I'm going to, I will not talk too much, but now I'm going to explain the 7-line prayer, okay? The 7-line prayer is very, as you know, very short, but it's very profound, very vast, very important. As I said, Nyingma Rinpoché, the great master, explained this 7-line prayer in the White Lotus, okay? And in there, you know, different levels of meaning. There is, as I said, the outer, inner, secret, and there is also, finally, there is the pith instructions of how to use the 7-line prayer on the path of liberation, of enlightenment. So today we will start with the explanation of the outer meaning of the 7-line prayer. This 7-line prayer has lots of different sort of, you know, stories and different levels and stages and different ways you can explain. It's very profound. But you should understand that, you know, the reason, like two, you know, things like why this prayer was, how do I say, came, you know, like originally sort of developed. This 7-line prayer has three sections, okay? The first, I'm talking about 7-line prayer, supplication prayer. First is how this prayer came about. Who wrote this prayer, you know? And second, the meaning of this prayer. And then third, the benefits of this prayer. So actually three kind of main things you should understand. Well, so the first, you know, I'm going to tell you how this 7-line prayer sort of originated, and under what circumstances. So the 7-line prayer originated directly from the speech of a Dakini. They said she is the sister of Padmasambhava, but I don't know. But at Nalanda University, you know that, right? In India, there's a very famous university called Nalanda. One time there was a very important debate between Buddhist and non-Buddhist. This was a very serious, very important debate, because if there's either of them, you know, if the scholars, Buddhist, you know, scholars, if they lost the debate, they would have to give up Buddhism, and then this non-Buddhist control everything, and then Buddhist teachings would be destroyed, right? So it's a very serious debate. That happened many times, probably you know that. Not these days, we have a debate, you know, it's no big deal. But that time, in ancient time, it's very important debate. So it was a big deal with the serious this kind of consequences, you know. But then many of the Buddhist scholars had same dream, strangely, before the debate. And in their dream, there was a sister of this, as I said, this Guru Rinpoche called Khanduma Shiva in Tibetan, or the Dakini of Shiva means peace, like supreme Dakini of supreme peace. That's her name. And she came to their dream, these scholars, Buddhist scholars, she came to their dream and said that I have a brother called Padmasambhava or Guru Rinpoche, who stays in right now, who in Dudjom in Tibetan, the darkness of the graveyard. That's what that means, Dudjom. So he was basically, Padmasambhava was that time like practiced in a cemetery. And then the Khandruma said, if you invite him, he will come and help you so that you will be able to win the debate and develop the Buddha Dharma. Otherwise, you will not be able to defeat them and they will destroy the Buddhist teachings. So then, there are lots of different stories there too. But so this Dagini, Kaduma, Dagini, the peace, instruct them on how to invoke Padmasambhava and taught them the seven-line prayer. Okay, so you have to practice this seven-line prayer, and then after they used the seven-line prayer, and I don't know how to came, but Padmasambhava came to the debate, and Padmasambhava practiced for them. There was a Dharma protector called the lion-faced Dakini. Maybe you know this. Which symbolizes a very powerful practice, like a lion, Lions are very powerful, right? So Padmasambhava practiced this Dharma protector, and then, after that, they had a debate, and the Buddhist scholars defeat them, and they win. That's how this seven-line prayer originated, okay? Later, then Guru Rinpoche, of course, came to Tibet, and around in the 8th century, when he was, I think, there are many also arguments and different kinds of stories, but I think the good one is like when he was around 43 years old, Padmasambhava, in I think 762, and he came to Tibet, and he lived in Tibet for around maybe like around 40 years, and then he established the Buddhist teachings, and especially the Dzogchen teaching, right? The Adi Yoga. So there are so many good teachings. I hope in the future you will be able to read all of them, but they're not in English right now. There are so many important Dzogchen teachings that come from Padmasambhava. And Padmasambhava also, at that time, he came to Tibet, and he gave this seven-line prayer to the Tibetan king and also his, of course, students at that time, and let them practice this seven-line prayer. That's very important, right? That's how the seven-line prayer came to be. So the seven-line prayer is hung in the northwest of land of Odayana, and the center of eye bloom lotus flower is the one with supreme wondrous city, the renowned lotus-born Padmākara, surrounded by vast retinue of Dakinis, following in your footsteps. I pray, please come and bestow blessings and Guru Padmasambhava. So now here I'm going to tell you. So now we know the how the seven-line prayer came, right? Now, what is the meaning of the seven-line prayer, the supplication? The prayer begins by reciting the seed syllable hong, right? Here, hong is the kind of opening, a calling out in request. And hong is also the seed syllable of mind. When I say seed syllable of mind, not the discursive mind that we are familiar with, but the self, the syllable, the self-arising mind of like Padmasambhava. Okay, so here hong syllable invokes the enlightened mind of Guru Rinpoche. Okay, that's how you start with this prayer. Hong. So then you kind of like, when you say it, then if you understand the awareness of the Rigpa, the Samantabhara, then you right away merge your mind into the Padmasambhavas, the enlightened mind of Guru Rinpoche. So that's how you start with this prayer, Hong. And then the next lines of the prayer, in the northwest of the land of Odayana. Here it talks about where Guru Rinpoche comes from, right? This is the land of Odayana. And it's known as the land of Dakinis too, Dakinis. And it's located somewhere, they say. Some people say it's between Pakistan and India. Some people say, oh no, it's in Pakistan. So I don't know, somewhere in India. Some people say, oh no, not in Pakistan, but it's in India. But somewhere there, this Odayana, this state, this place, so you can, it's easy to understand, that's no problem. And then the prayer says, in the center of blooming lotus flower, here it talks about how and where Padmasambhava appeared. So the center of lotus flower, it is at the very northwestern edge of this land is a precious lake called Dhanakosha, right? So this is what I'm talking about. Dhanakosha, this lake is, some people say it's in Pakistan, some people say in India, some people say, oh, between Pakistan and India. So this Dhanakosha, this lake filled with beautiful lotus flowers. So Guru Rinpoche, it was in a lotus flower on the lake that Dhanakosha, Lake Guru Rinpoche, first appeared and was, as it's found by Ken, this Inda Buddhi, when I think Guru Rinpoche was 8 years old. Some people say this also age is different, so it's hard to know the real one, but he was very young. So here his birth says that he was not born of a mother and father, but instead he spontaneously appeared on a lotus flower on Dhanakosha Lake. I think this is because, according to the Dzogchen teachings, the Dzogchen teachings, maybe some of you don't know, the highest of all the Buddhist teachings. The highest of all the Buddhist teachings, maybe some of you don't know, the Dzogchen teachings, maybe some of you don't know, the highest of all the Buddhist teachings, maybe some of you don't know, the highest of all the Buddhist teachings, maybe some of you don't know, the highest of all the Buddhist teachings, maybe some of you don't know, the highest of all the Buddhist teachings, maybe some of you don't know, the highest of all the Buddhist teachings, maybe some of you don't know, the highest of all the Buddhist teachings, maybe some of you don't know, the highest of all the Buddhist teachings, maybe some of you don't know, the highest of all the Buddhist teachings, maybe some of you don't know, the highest of all the Buddhist teachings, maybe some of you don't know, the highest of all the Buddhist teachings, maybe some of you don't know, the highest of all the Buddhist teachings, maybe some of you don't know, the highest of all the Buddhist teachings, maybe some of you don't know, the highest of all the Buddhist So according to this teaching, our nature mind is birthless, right? It's birthless. It means without a father and mother, right? So I think that's why Padmasambhava said, my father is intrinsic awareness. My mother is ultimate sphere of light, the reality. So I think according to that, our basic goodness, this awareness is without parents. It's nature. So that's why maybe many different ways you can understand this. And then prayer says, is the one with supreme wondrous city, the renowned lotus-born Padmākara. Here it talks about Padmasambhava's name, right? Padmākara or Padmasambhava, and also talks about the spatial qualities of Padmasambhava, wondrous city. So here, wondrous city means basically, I think, a special power, which is Padmasambhava's quality. It's Padmasambhava is very unique human being or enlightened being. The quality is like, he manifests, let's say, like into this sort of suffering of samsara, but he was fully enlightened and fully awake, right? Like, the lotus flower. The lotus flowers grow out of the mud on the bottom of the lake, right? But lotus itself, the lotus flower itself, is very pure without mud, right? So similarly, Padmasambhava was born or appeared, in mud of the kind of like this samsara, the suffering of samsara. But for him, it doesn't matter. He was fully enlightened, meaning, everything that arises is pure and unstained, like a beautiful lotus flower. That's why they called him lotus-born Padmākara. Okay, that's his capacity. I mean, he's all this like magic things, and I don't know that's true or not. People explain different ways, but it's very clear that he was a second Buddha. He was fully enlightened being. So that's the point. Then the next prayer, the surrounded by a vast retinue of dakinis. There is only they say dakinis, not saying dakas and dakinis. There's a reason there too. But here, this, in prayer, refers to all of Padmasambhava's sort of disciples, right? Surrounded by dakinis. In ancient time, I think, the meaning of dakinis is not really necessarily, how do I say, positive or good, but yeah, I'm not going to explain that. But, generally speaking, there are different kinds of dakinis, Dakinis are usually, say, embodiment of the feminine principle, either in human or non-human form. When I say non-human form, there are so many, according to Buddhism, there are so many realms of beings that we can't see them, right? Not just only this planet, but there are so many different realms, so we can't see them. So this non-human form dakinis is one of them, I think. We can't see them. So, and generally also the dakinis, this dakini thing, the tradition was brought from India to Tibet. And then nowadays in Tibet, dakinis are very common, and also, dakini refer to an accomplished yogini, or Dakini is also female sort of, what do you call it, messenger of wisdom. Here the Padmasambhava is surrounded by Dakini. According to the teachings, Dakinis may appear as a human being, or Dakinis may appear as a goddess, right? Goddess, Lamu in Tibet. Either, they appear as peaceful or wrathful, also, Dakinis can either be enlightened or who has not attained enlightenment, such as, these days, the great teachers, they have a consort, they have, wife that they call Dakini, but they're usually not an enlightened being, but because of the great teachers, and they call Dakinis. So it's not necessarily when you hear Dakinis, meaning it's enlightened being. There are different meanings of Dakini. According to the Tantric teachings, the Dakinis are the female embodiment of enlightenment, So anyway, Padmasambhava was surrounded by Dakinis, and those Dakinis not maybe attained, not yet sort of enlightened beings, so Padmasambhava brought them into enlightenment. That's that. And then the next, here 2 lines of the prayer explain how we should pray to Guru Rinpoché. Okay, this is very important. It says, following in your footsteps, I pray, please come and bestow your blessings. As you know, Guru Rinpoché manifested in a Nirmanakaya form in the Lotus family in order to develop Buddhist, these Tantric teachings, Dzogchen teachings, throughout this world. So Nirmanakaya, as you know, in Tibetan is Tulku, which translates to a manifestation of the Buddha's body and speech and mind. Okay. Padmasambhava is the manifestation of the Buddha's body, Nirmanakaya. Now, how do we practice the 7-line prayer? Practice this prayer with great confident faith and devotion, requesting his presence and his blessings. Practice prayers, not just like this prayer, but the old prayers. When we practice prayers without faith, without compassion, there is no blessing. There's no benefit. As you know, all the Buddhist practice are based on confident faith and compassion, basically. That's why we always start with the refuge in bodhicitta prayer, no matter what. When you practice, when you meditate for 1 minute, you cannot meditate without refuge in bodhicitta prayer. That's why when we practice also, like when we start with preliminary practice, right? We begin with practice refuge and bodhicitta. There's a reason, for example, what is, when you practice refuge, what is the essence of refuge practice? The essence of refuge practice, develop your faith, right? Develop great faith in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Not just to believe it, but when you practice refuge, I always tell my spiritual friend, when they practice refuge, you have to really understand who is Buddha, what is Buddha, what is Dharma, what is Sangha. Once you really understand the meaning of all that, it can help you, and you can develop your faith, unchangeable faith in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. That's the foundation of all other practice. Then, of course, after that, you practice bodhicitta, which is compassion. So that's very important to understand when you practice prayers, Otherwise, there is no such thing as blessing. Also, blessing, when you say that this prayer said, please come and bestow your blessing. Blessing has a different meaning to different people. Sometimes blessing, like for example, when you practice refuge, and then you really understand the meaning of refuge, and then you develop your faith, that is blessing. You practice bodhicitta, you have strongly, you feel like you develop compassion, sentient beings, that is a blessing, nothing else. So, but blessing meaning, has different meaning to different people. It's up to you. But for me, it's like, I don't believe this kind of like this magic and this kind of miraculous things, Me, like when I practice bodhicitta, if I have sort of somehow that, like I have a little bit more compassion, or that's what I call blessing. That's why I'm saying is this: when you practice this prayer without faith, without compassion, then it's almost nothing. So that's very important. That's why I say if we do it correctly, then there's no doubt that Padmasambhava's blessing come to you. Now here we say, and when we practice this prayer, I will follow your footsteps, right? I will pray, one-pointedly, with sort of intensive devotion and faith, so that, grant your blessings, so that, at this very moment, all this kind of forms of illness, harmful actions, and just, all this negative, actions and emotions in this world will never happen again. So this is how you pray. So you can recite the 7-line prayer as much as you can with this kind of foundation quality, and without sort of mixing it, there's ordinary thoughts in speech. Okay, when you say the prayers, that's how you do it. Then if you do that through sort of this practice of this 7-line prayer, you think more about, the Padmasambhava, the more you know of his story, his capacity, all that, and the more thinking about Padmasambhava will open your mind, which is his blessing. Okay. There's a beautiful quote, how to practice the 7-line prayer, from Padmasambhava, and then later there's a great Tejo reviewer, the Tibetan review this Tejo teaching. I'm going to read it for you so that you will know how to pray this 7-line practice. This is great instructions. Okay. So this, the Padmasambhava, basically this come from Padmasambhava. So he said, fortunate men and women of the future, take yourself to an isolated place and make deep feelings arise of impermanence and devotion. This is vital. Then rely on me completely. Have total trust and confidence in me. Then he said, no need to make any offerings. Simply let your devotion and faith flood your body, speech, and mind, and pray with these 7 lines. If you want to receive my blessings, you should recite this prayer 6 times during the day and night. Okay, that's Padmasambhava's instruction, how you pray this 7-line prayer or the Bhajar Guru mantra, okay? Now I'm going to tell you the benefits, the last one. There are 3 sections, remember? The benefit of practicing the 7-line prayer and the Bhajar Guru mantra. The benefit, one time, when Padmasambhava went to Tibet and he met Dakini Shinsorjer, probably you know, the Dakini Shinsorjer, it's a great female practitioner. So one time, she made a great mandala offering to Guru Rinpoché and asked all sentient beings in the future will have strong negative thoughts and tremendous aggression, and they will have wrong views towards the Dharma teachings, especially they will blaspheme Vajrayana, these tantric teachings. They have this total sort of wrong views. At that time, there will also be, this is amazing though, terrible wars happening between beings, and they will be destroying each other, and they will not get along with one another. What should we do at that time? Ishin Sorja asked to Padmasambhava, and she asked, the practice you have given us are very profound, very essential. I have no doubt. But all sentient beings in the future will not have time to practice all of that. And even those who want to practice, there will be a lot of powerful obstacles, and they will be extremely difficult to overcome. And in such times, what are the benefits of relying on the practice of the 7-line supplication prayer to you and recite the Bhajar Guru mantra? What are the benefits? Please tell us, for the benefit of people in the future. Asked, Ishin Sorja, can you tell us the benefits of the 7-line supplication? Because, as I said, Padmasambhava came to Tibet, and then he gave the first time this 7-line prayer to Tibetan tenant to everyone, and he said, this is the best. And then of course Padmasambhava replayed to Ishin Sorja, and he said, what you say is absolutely true. This will happen in the future. That is because it is a sign that all these unfortunate beings, the good fortune and good merit is running out. However, in such time as those, this essential prayer and mantra, if someone with, this is Padmasambhava himself said, if someone with unbroken samaya, faithful men and women, whoever recite this prayer and recite this mantra with bodhicitta aspiration, with sort of faith in compassion, then it will bring great benefit. And he said, fortunate practitioners will meet me, Padmasambhava, at the best in person or in visions, like, all these Tibetan great teachers, they had visions, Padmasambhava, all the time, right? Like a vision, or at least in dream. That's a good sign. If you practice Seven-Line prayers, of course, the best in person, you can meet Padmasambhava and you can ask questions like that. It's a possible. If not that, then there a vision, you can see him, you can hear him. Or at least when you practice Seven-Line prayer correctly, then in your dream, Padmasambhava come in, dispel your obstacles and all of that. Then this Dakini, Ishin soldier, asked again for the sake of sentient beings in the future. So then can you give us a very brief explanation of this Bhajar Guru mantra? Okay. If in the future one should rely on you and your prayer, which is this Bhajar Guru mantra, what's benefit will come from this mantra? And the Guru Rinpoche said that, Ishin Sorje, you should know that the Bhajar Guru mantra is not only my sort of essential mantra, but it is the heart essence of all the Buddhas, all the Dakinis, all the deities. And this mantra is the essence of all the Dharma teachings, especially the Vajrayana, the Tantric teachings, Dzogchen teaching. So Bhajar Guru mantra is the heart essence of all mantras. That's why if you do it correctly, then there's no doubt, there's the benefit will come. So as you know, basically mantras are usually they say like secret sounds that have been used for many centuries in spiritual practice. Especially the Bhajar Guru mantra has special blessings from Padmasambhava to overcome obstacles. The obstacles, whether inner, outer, whatever. And these blessings starting when Padmasambhava first taught this prayer and brought it to Tibet and let them practice, and have continued throughout all the great masters of our lineage until today. So this blessing is alive, so they say, these teachers say, the wisdom mind of Padmasambhava is manifested in the form of the mantra. That's how they believe. So we are if you believe really that, we are very fortunate to have opportunity to practice this mantra and have this sort of transmission, with the blessings, unbroken lineage blessings. So when you invoke him with the recitation of the mantra, the blessing and the merit, according to Padmasambhava, you obtain is tremendous. It's very beneficial. So when you practice this prayer and mantra, as I just read it for you, the instruction, you sit sort of quietly and try to have a peaceful connection with all this, good causes and conditions, bodhicitta, faith, all this kind of thing. And then you focus on the Vajraguru mantra or the seven-line prayer and recite it and think about the suffering in the world and give rise to compassion, then you will see the benefits. So if you concentrate complete attention upon your own voice, chanting the mantra in melody, they're beautiful, right? As the mind focuses on the sounds of mantra, it becomes how do I say, less focused in distractions and negative thoughts, and gives you a sense of this mental peace. That's what I mean. If you do it correctly, you will see the benefits. The sound of mantra can calm the mind, relax the body, and connected you with this healing energies. And then you are in that kind of situation, then slowly your awareness, this samadha arises, and then the self nature of mind can be realized, right? There is an awareness that knows the nature of mind. So if you always remain within this this awareness, it becomes like a space. The meaning is very open and without discursive thoughts, without negative thoughts, nothing. It becomes like space. If you recognize it, then you are sort of creating, maybe not good, the creating is not a word, but you are sort of like, creating like an ultimate sort of refuge from all this kind of fear, doubts, negative emotions, and other sort of painful mental distractions. That is the benefit of, practicing this prayer and mantra. That is the blessing of Padmasambhava. So if you practice this prayer like that, you will have Guru Rinpoche's blessings, Padmasambhava's blessings. Not only Padmasambhava, but from Padmasambhava until now, today, all throughout all this lineage, teachers like that. This transmission is amazing. that's that. So now I hope you understand a little bit about the meaning of the 7-line prayer and benefit. Now I will go through the mantra, this Bhajan Guru mantra. Give you another, a short explanation of this Bhajan Guru mantra. So generally, as I said, generally speaking, the meaning of the Bhajan Guru mantra has many different levels and stages in many ways, outer, inner, secret way, like is, Padmasambhava himself explained the Bhajan Guru mantra. And also after that, centuries, all these Tibetan, Teja revealer, these teachers, they have different ways to explain this Padmasambhava's mantra. But here you should understand the meaning of the mantra is like this. Bhajan Guru, Bhajara Guru, right, embodies the inseparability of wisdom and compassion. Okay, Bhajara Guru. Padma refers to the lotus flower, right, symbolizing purity and spiritual growth. Then Siddhi, Siddhi is Udap in Tibetan, which means all of the Udap number the Chokdan Tumung Udap. It means like supreme and ordinary accomplishments. That's the Siddhi that we want to attain, and success in practice. That's the result of our practice. That is the enlightenment, the quality of this enlightenment, okay? Siddhi. And then lastly, Hong invokes the realization of the wisdom of the Guru Rinpoché, as I said, the opening, the realization of all that. So that is the kind of short meaning of the mantra. And of course, the benefit of this mantra is explained by Padmasambhava himself in answer to the question from Khandrish Sorja, right? I mentioned it above. Now that's, that's the meaning of the benefit of this 7-line prayer and mantra. But for someone with, as I said, like wrong views, someone with broken samaya, someone with like this wrong view, which is no confident faith in devotion, someone who has no compassion towards all sentient beings, then this mantra and this prayer is almost nothing. Meaning there is no blessings, there is no result. But, according to Padmasambhava himself, someone with great faith in understand the essence of this prayer and this mantra, it is really everything. I mean, Padmasambhava said this mantra is not only the essential, my mantra, my heart, my essence, my nature, but it's all Buddhist teachings, the meaning of all Buddhist teachings. This mantra includes all that. So it's everything. If we have time, like I can explain this like outer, inner, secret, profound way. So then you will really know, wow, this mantra is really like has a different levels and different stages and many ways to understand. This is a blessing. This is something special. It's everything with someone who has a faith in unbroken samaya, with their lineage and all of that. So you are like that, right? So you should practice without any doubt. That's that. Now, the last thing you should know is you don't need receive sort of empowerment in order to practice the 7-line prayer and the mantra, but you really need an oral transmission. As you know, oral transmission is like hooking up your facet to the water lines coming from all these pure and beautiful mountains, right? Like that, you know, oral transmission makes that connection, and it puts you in the living lineage, I would say. So receive the oral transmission without broken samaya, the lineage. It's very, very important to receive it. So now I'm going to give you the oral transmission of the 7-line prayer, the Bajraguru mantra. I received this transmission so many times and from all different kinds of teachers. So I will give you that. Let me see this. Do we have time? Yeah, we do have a little. Lama Sangdi Song, chapter Labdip Sigden Song in English, a completion, the Lama through the 7-line prayer, is special teaching from the Lama Sangdi, which means the Terma revelation of Guru Chuwang. Tubdam Lala Shangsalo Hiru Garden Rigiv, Origin Dagla Jamsurna, when Binis around me, Murtak Chuachiva Tang. Korbisum Barabdich, Lonia Tansum Galato, Jan Chapter Resan, Origin Dagla Zopersum, Kidu to Cheshi, Chotan Munster, Josopon, Lingersum, Sidin de Sura Top. Okay. It said homage to the Yedam deity. Fortunate, this I already read it to you, but there's translations. Fortunate sons and daughters of the future, when you turn to me, the Guru of origin, for refuge, take yourself to an isolated place and make deep feelings arise of melancholy, impermanence, and disgust with samsara. This is vital. Then rely on me completely, heart and soul. Reflect how every kind of refuge, all your hopes is fulfilled and complete within me, the Guru of origin. Whether in happiness or in sorrow, have total trust and confidence in me. No need to make offerings or praise. Set aside all accumulating. Simply let devotion flood your body, speech, and mind, and pray with these 7 lines. Hong origin in the northwest of land of Padmākara Dombola, in the center of bloom lotus flower. Yamsunchok Udumni is the one with spring wonder city. Pamajoni Hisita, the Ronan lotus-born Padmākara, Kordon Kwandu Mambuko, surrounded by vast ratin of Dakin. Cheji, Jesu following in your footsteps, I pray. Shinji Labshir Shiasu. Please come and bestow your blessings. Guru Pamasa de Hong, Shibiya Surva, don't want to Sinchima, that become the young Heki Tobla salary. Singeri Mayan and the Tosor and Depi, Nachiban Muji with Tism Jerry and once a round similar to Townsend Tuptini, Hill around from Chimbu, Roman Yan Dungar, Ronin Jertsy. Running just yan nam denim jerjan to Yona Damja, Danichim, Manja, Torbi Tapchi, Tuji, don't have chapter hin, but Sigdim is on the Shin, the subject took the answer sound. Here, Lord Daniel, the two young on top of Jiso. Okay, that is in English. Pray in this way over and over again. Create a feeling of longing so intense that tears spearing from your eyes. If the rapture of devotion overwhelms you, breathe out strongly, then leave everything as it is, clear and awake, focused and undistracted. Look within. For children of mine who pray like this, it goes without saying that they will have my protection. for they will be the sons and daughters of the Buddhas of past, present, and future. They will receive complete empowerment into the awareness of their own enlightened mind. Their samadhi will be so powerful. Tangenzen, samadhi means tangenzen, the meditation, okay? Powerful and stable that wisdom will naturally blossom. This great blessing, which arises of its own accord, will ripen on you and dispel all the suffering of others. When your mind is transformed, others' perceptions will simultaneously change. You will accomplish enlightened activity, and all noble qualities will be complete within you. May the sons and daughters of my heart meet with this extraordinary, skillful means, one which ripens and liberates into the Dharmakaya, realization of my enlightened being. A practice with a uniquely powerful blessings. The seven-line prayer is exceptionally profound. So let this instruction be an extremely secret treasure of my enlightened mind. May it meet with one who possesses a mind of wisdom and is endowed with great compassion, called Lord of Dharma, Chuji Wamshu. So teaching Chuji Wamshu, this is the great treasure revealer. So Padmasambhava give these instructions and then reveal the treasure revealer, Guru Chuji Wamshu, review this treasure teaching. So that is how you practice Padmasambhava's seven-line supplication. There's lots of different seven-line supplications, but you understand this one is very special. Seven-line supplication to Guru Rinpoché, and is your Guru Yoga practice, you know. So that's all we have for today. And I think now we, maybe like 5 minutes, we can say this seven-line prayer supplication 3 times, and then Bhajan Guru mantra, Bhajan Guru mantra maybe 20 times with your pure motivation, confident faith and devotion, and especially compassion to all sentient beings who are suffering right now, today, in this moment. That is the great way to practice the seven-line supplication. So now you can share that the seven-line prayer mantra, so we can practice together 3 times the seven-line prayers, and then mantra, Guru mantra. You want me to say? Okay. Home in northwest of the land of Bodhiana, in the center of a blooming lotus flower, is the one with the supreme wondrous city, the renowned lotus-born Padmākara, surrounded by vast retinue of dakinis, following in your footsteps. I pray, please come and bestow your blessings. Guru Padmasambhava Hong. Okay, so then there is also, we have the Tibetan version, the pronunciation, so we can say it in one time. Hong, origin, yurjin, pyang tsam, Padmākara dombola, yan san choki udani, Padmājoni hisata, Ordan kando mambukur, Che ji ji sa da da ji, Xian ji la pir xia se so, Guru Padmasambhava Hong. Hong in the northwest of land of Odiyana in the center of a blooming lotus flower, is the one with the supreme wonder city, the renowned lotus-born Padmākara, surrounded by vast retinue of dakinis. Following in your footsteps, I pray, please come and bestow your blessings. Guru Padmasambhava. Ahom Banjaram 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 Guru Padmasambhava. So if you when you practice the seven-line prayers, you visualize Padmasambhava in front of you, right, as a real living Buddha, not like there are lots of tankas and pictures and statues of Padmasambhava, not like that, but it's a real sort of living being, or living Buddha in front of you, and then you connected your mind to his mind, wisdom mind, and then you practice this with all this faith and devotion, compassion, and then at the end, Padmasambhava sort of dissolve into a light, and the light dissolve into your mind, and then you just deep breathe out, and then just live as it is, and then you just meditate there. We call it rest and meditation. Either you can meditate objectless shamatha, or if you are like advanced student who received the Dzogchen practice, the nature mind, then this is the perfect way to practice Guru Yoga, the union of Padmasambhava's wisdom mind and your mind inseparably, and then you meditate on there like that as much as you can, you want. So yeah, that's how you practice the seven-line supplication prayer, and that will conclude the teaching and practice for today. And I hope you will make this prayer a regular practice. And also, if you want, which, as I said, he wrote it in sort of very extensive commentary to the seven prayer called White Lotus. It's translated into English. If you want to read it, you should read maybe the outer inner and then there is a PT instruction how to practice Seven-Line prayer. Maybe if you don't receive Dzogchen yet, Dzogchen teachings yet, maybe you should not read the secret, the profound level of the commentary by Mahamud, which you should not read that. But the outer and inner and PT instructions, how to practice the Seven-Line, you can read it, all of that. And I also want to let you know that Kanchen Tsurum Lodru, one of the best student of Kanchen Jigme Panso, he's the best teacher in Tibet right now. He requested all the Tibetan people to accumulate the Bajra Guru mantra and the Seven-Line prayer this year. So a lot of people are practicing the Seven-Line prayer these days, so many. And also Bajra Guru mantra. So you can join this accumulation if you wish. And then you, if you want, let me know. Maybe whenever you're ready, maybe next year, whatever, you let me know. I recite this much. So if you have a number, how many recitations of the prayer and Bajra Guru mantra, then we can give to Kanchen Tsurum Lodru, which is Larong Monastery, and they can dedicate for us all together. And then there will be like millions, billions, trillions of Bajra Guru mantra and prayers, and you will receive all the benefits, all of that. So I think that would be really good opportunity. But if you are busy with other practice, then they're all same. It's fine. That's totally fine. But just to let you know that. And I think that's all. And thank you very much for coming to today's teaching and practice together. And please say these prayers at least 3 times a day for this terrible wars. And there's so many people are suffering from all kinds of situation, and especially these innocent people like babies, children, and old people killing, because of this war. So please say at least 3 times this prayer with faith, devotion, compassion, bodhicitta, then dedicate to all them, the suffering people. I think that's very, very important. That's my motivation, and I trust you will do that for all sentient beings. It's really good for everybody. That's all I can say, and yeah, that's all. Merry Christmas, and I hope see you in next year. January, I'm going to teach the way of Bodhisattva. That's we didn't finish last year, the first chapter, the root text, the way of Bodhisattva. I'm going to continue teach on that. So if you have time, please join us. And other than that, take good care and a wonderful weekend, and I hope see all of you in next year. So thank you very much. That's all we have, and that's conclude the teaching for today. So that's all. Thank you very much.